Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our planning meeting. This is Monday, May the 29th, 2023. We welcome those that have joined with us in person and virtually. I'd like to welcome to our planning meeting tonight Isabella Kane, our temporary planning technician, and welcome her to her first planning meeting. Council, I'd ask you if there's a declaration of pecuniary interest to identify it at the proper moment. Clerk, do we have any delegations this evening?
Nope.
Okay, item number 4 on the agenda, any business arising from the previous meeting? Clerk, anything on that? All right, we're going to go to item number 5.1. Council, I have a motion by Councillor Bojan, seconded by Councillor Rodriguez. The report by Randy Burke, planner dated May 17th, 2023, regarding the extension of a second house agreement 3261 London Line be received and the council extend the agreement by an additional 2 months, creating a lapse date of July 23rd, 2023. Burke is with us this evening. Council, are there any questions? All those in favor? Great. Okay, we're going to go to 5.2, council, an extension of second house agreement, moved by Councillor Rodriguez, seconded by Councillor Vasey. That a report by Randy Burke, planner dated May 17, 2023, regarding the extension of a second house agreement 7726 Oil Heritage Road be received and the council extend the previously extended agreement by an additional 2 months, creating a new lapse date of July 28th, 2023. You know, we've this is a very familiar one. Not sure if it meets the history that we've done the longest, but any questions, Deputy Mayor?
Why don't we just make it 6 months? Rather than 2. We've been back several times.
If I go to Planner Burke, or do they feel they would have that completed by then?
Through the emails received, they felt that July 31st, but requested that it would be 2 months. I went by their request, although from a planning perspective, I think 6 months could be beneficial. I don't know.
Councillor Vasey?
Why do we put a date on it? They get 1 year extension. This one's been 3.5 years. Still not done. If you don't put an end date on it, then we might as well take the deposit, get rid of it, and take 5 years to get rid of things. I don't know. I find it ridiculous that I know COVID was involved with this one.
Councillor Rodriguez?
Thank you, Your Worship. And speaking to what Councillor Vasey said, we seem to see a lot of, in my short time here, we seem to see a lot of these come back here for extensions, and these are already repeats that have been here. Is there a longer time frame policy or filing? And like 1 year and 31 days or something? Like maybe we should be making that a different timeline, and I don't know where that all is in that original time. And that would kind of solve some problems. I think there has to be a date, obviously, on there.
Make it 6 months, you'd still come up with a date.
Yeah, but said that last council meeting.
No, but now we're doing,
Here we are again. So I think maybe the original date, if it was longer, maybe that would solve it coming back to us.
2 year out
Yeah,
sooner. Yeah, 2 years or sooner. Nobody
Yeah.
cares.
yeah, maybe that would stop.
So that's a good point. Anything to my left?
oh,
If we're dealing with this one here right now, maybe what we're talking about is something as we move forward to
Mhm,
look at.
yeah.
Everybody agree on that? So if we're dealing with what we've got for Mr. Warner and Ms. Van Hughes and okay with that extension.
It sounds to me like they don't have very much left to
I
go.
think according to our planner, they're just about
Yeah, they informed me that it would be July 31st expected, which is why they requested the 2 months, which would be July 28th, so they feel it could be done by then.
Some guardrails or something.
Yeah, it was very minor.
Okay, so we're okay on this? Right?
Thank you, your worship. I just wondered if you were gonna change that, just check with mover and seconder, but if it's gonna stay, that's fine. And if you want, staff can look into using the original amount. We'll look into it and get back to council.
I think that would be a good idea. I think what we're doing, we're gonna deal with this one
Yeah.
right now. Everybody okay on this one? All in favor? Great. Okay, council, we're gonna go to 5.3. Motion by Council Wolvette, seconded by Deputy Mayor McEwen. Report by Randy Burke, planner dated May 17th, 2023, regarding the extension of a second house agreement. 5450 Mandamin Road be received and the council extend the agreement by an additional 2 months, creating a new lapse date of August 12th, 2023. Burke, does this resident feel they can have that completed then?
Yes, they do. Just based on the email conversations I have with them. They're just, it's kind of precautionary in case it doesn't get disconnected from gas in time, but they feel that it's ready to be taken down. That's just the last step.
So any questions on this one, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I've got the same comments. Why not give her 6 months? Answer the question.
I think she's on that.
That's not-
That's six-
wait,
This is,
Okay, which one's this then we're talking about?
Endowment.
Mendamin, okay. Sorry, I'm not speaking for, because they're not here to answer, because, okay? This next one is, so.
Council, all of those in favor? Thought we'd have this much fun with extensions.
Look like an easy evening.
There's a lot that's understandable. Okay, let's go with the 5.4 now, council. We have a motion by Deputy Mayor McEwen, seconded by Councilor Wolvette, that the report by Randy Burke, planner, dated May 17th, 2023, regarding an extension to the 3 dwelling agreement 5570 to 5592 Kamlaka Road be received. And the council extend the agreement by an additional 6 months, creating a new lapse date, November 30th, 2023. I would ask you, Ms. Burke, if the resident feels that can be completed, but I think we have the resident here. So do you feel that you can have?
I hope it's completed by then. That's the, I was told September was my completion date for my house, so. It's the contractor's problem.
Those contractors saying. Any questions to my left?
I have a comment. She's asking for 6, so that's great.
I won't touch that one.
No.
Councilor Van Claveren?
So there's 2 other existing, two other existing dwellings on there. Are you living in any of them that are on there now? Are they both occupied?
Just one is occupied.
Okay. And just so I'm clear, which one is gonna come down once your new one is?
The mobile trailer that's sitting in front of the 5592. house.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Very good.
Anything else from my? All right. Questions? Yes.
So you're here. So is there a substantial amount to be completed still? Should we maybe be giving 12 months?
I'm not gonna touch that.
Yes, they haven't even started drywalling yet. So yes, there's a quite a bit.
And is this contractor doing more than one job at a time? Is that kind of the? So do you feel 6 months is reasonable?
I'm not her builder. I am a builder.
Oh, okay. Saying you're brave.
Yeah. Suggest, because it's a big house, it's gonna take a little longer.
Months because of the substantial.
It's a lovely home.
So I just want us to be realistic here in what we're doing, like, Deputy Mayor has been trying to do. Oh, it was.
I'm very hopeful it's done in 6 months because I want to get it before Christmas.
He's chuckling, so I don't.
So council, are we okay with 6 months?
I think I should extend it.
It's open for discussion. You want to extend it? What are you looking?
I don't bother you guys again, you mean? Is that the,
We should be realistic. If you think. And I don't know what's acceptable to everybody, but I mean, we have a builder here saying 12 months. Because it's a large home and it's nowhere near completion. And it's out of her control.
Number.
I will go with 8 or 10. We
Let's
think
just go
it
12, but
out. Okay, go.
the initial should be 2.
Don't go with that.
I agree.
Comments would be for all of these extensions is the property owners make their request. The time periods in that they're requesting, whether that's 2 or 6 or 1 year. We work with the planners accordingly. Our request here is for a 6-month extension. I don't think it's up to us to start advising everybody in their own situation and what, let's be fair and give you 2 years or 3 years. If you want 6 months, then I would suggest, or if you want a year, I would suggest you ask us for a year.
I'm gonna think 6 months, we're gonna hold my contract to it.
I think it's them requesting it.
Well, if you're okay with 6 months, we're okay with 6.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, like,
Motion on the floor is for 6 months. Council moved by Deputy Mayor McKeon, seconded by Council Wolvett. Over the vote. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, council, we're gonna go to 5.5. We have a motion by Councilor Vacy, seconded by Councilor Rodriguez, that the report prepared by Adam Szymanski, Director of Public Works, dated May 24th, 2023, regarding proposed transfer of hazard lands adjacent to Fleming Road to the town be received, and that council endorses the proposed transfer of lands at little or no cost to the town. Council, we've heard that you have a copy of Mr. Szymanski's report in front of you. I'll open it for questions, beginning on my right. Councilor Bojan?
Thank you, Worship. I guess I just have one question through the staff. I don't see any issues with the lot line adjustment requests, and there was no issues raised there. I'm just wondering why it was packaged together as this plus the town taking on land plus another lot. And the only reason I say that is because if there's not a lot of concerns with the lot line adjustments and letting those property owners get that extra land, council might want a little bit more time to get a staff report to say, what's this hazard land look like to take on? What's the cost of it? What's the risk? What's associated with taking this extra land? I'm just not sure why it's packaged together as one, when we could move along and send the lot line adjustment straight to committee of adjustment, and they can take care of that while we deal with the other thing.
Absolutely valid point. This is the way that it was handed to me, bring back and packaged back to me from the Committee of Adjustment. Committee of Adjustment received a full proposal from the developer suggesting the lot line adjustments and noting that the lands in the hazard to the north of the stream would be provided to the town if approved. The Committee of Adjustment felt that it was not their place to rule on it at that time because the proposal clearly dedicated those lands towards the town. So they wanted the council to endorse that proposal as presented. If this committee feels that the developer should send back the proposal to the committee, less the donation to the town, that is council's prerogative. Or if the committee wanted to make a decision on whether or not they'd be interested in land tonight, that is also their prerogative.
That's my biggest just because taking on land, having land that you can't, is it increased risk on a unassumed trail? What's the cost associated with the town to maintain and protect that hazard land? I just think there's a lot of questions with that land, and I wouldn't want to hold up the property owners who want their lot line adjustments. That can be done through committee of adjustment.
Well, and I would have provided that information too, but it's quite challenging to actually calculate how much it's gonna cost for maintenance, because woodlots vary in their maintenance requirements. Some years you have to take down a number of dead trees, such as when the ash trees died, and some years you do minimal maintenance. So it's calculating the cost of maintaining a woodlot is challenging because you don't know year to year. That's why I didn't include any maintenance or operations cost assessments in there, due to the fact that it would be maintained until unless council determined to turn it into a park or something like that. It would just be maintained as an actual woodlot and hazard lands with a trail running through it.
That was just my piece. I'll let the rest of council.
I'm gonna go to Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, if I could just answer those three, the people that have encroached on that property that belongs to Carl, that we granted those. And so that's all settled, those separate lots, okay? But I walked that trail the other day, and nice little trail. We're gonna assume, it's liability. The only thing is, now if you're into having a nature trail and keeping it and keeping everybody happy with a little walk around the block, that's good. But I don't understand why we need to take the south half of the creek. The south half of the creek, you want to have a lot facing Fleming, and you've got that all excavated, and it looks very nice, but I don't understand why we need to have the remainder of that lot on the south side of it. There's no nature trail, there's nothing there. It's just like, why don't you just keep it totally one big lot?
Is divided by drainage creek, so it has a natural severance there. And there are people on the north side of that creek.
Yeah.
That
The
encroach,
north side, you keep the south side.
and that's what I wanted to keep this.
I didn't think you wanted to keep the south side. I thought you wanted to give the whole works to us, that except for the building lot.
Just the north side.
That's not the way I
Bring up
understood
the
it.
runs and screens.
Yeah, drawn up that way.
Okay, let's bring that up on the screen so we can all take a look.
I didn't understand it that way. I didn't.
Introduce.
So yes, Mr. Kungus is the developer of the lands. So to provide a brief summary again, Mr. Kungus, this is out of Sarah's report. Mr. Kungus was proposing to develop the blue, which encompasses from the south, from the north lot line of two properties on Creekside, all the way to the creek. And then from Fleming Road west to one of the lot line adjustments. Lot 14 would be extended to the creek. Lot 13 would be extended to the creek. Lot 12 would be extended to the creek. Also, lot 11 to the north would have a lot line adjustment on it. And the remaining lands in the green would be deeded to the town under Mr. Kungus's proposal. So at the time, the committee deferred all discussions in regards to it because of the way this was presented and thought that council should endorse the conveyance of the lands to Plympton-Wyoming before it proceed forward. So an option if council does not want to consider taking on those lands or would like further time to consider it, you can amend the motion to note that you would like to discuss the conveyance of the lands in the future, but have no objection to moving forward with the other lot line adjustments.
So if I'm correct on this, then the lot line adjustments have already been made through the Committee of Adjustment.
No, sir.
They have not been. So this would be to separate it, send it back to the committee for the lot line adjustments.
We just approve those here.
No,
No, let's go to committee.
severance.
The only thing that the council's ruling on today is whether or not you have interest in the green lands. And if you don't have interest in the green lands, you can either, or you'd want more time to consider the green lands, whether that we just defer this motion entirely, or you pass a new motion separating out the process.
So do these red lots that are, they're gonna be added on to the lots existing already? Do they go to the top of the bank or the bottom of the bank? Or the middle of the,
The edge of the creek, to the south edge of the creek,
so they own the bank.
to the south bank.
So the town would own approximately everything north of the creek itself, up into the back of the lots off Elizabeth Way and Rue Street, save and accept lot 11's lot line adjustment.
Does that include the creek?
All right, I got Counselor Basie and then Counselor Rodriguez.
She can finish and then I'll come with them.
Go ahead, Chris.
It was just, I wasn't clear whether that included the creek.
Have to look at the survey.
That would be conveyed. to the-
That creek is a natural drainage creek anyways. So you have. Might own the land under the Drainage Act. It's
Well, right now you own the creek, right? Yes, you do.
fish in there
I don't think so.
and I don't want it.
Counselor Basie?
Yes, on the severance part, the lot line extensions, I don't have a problem with. The proposed building lot, I have a problem with. The only property on the whole Fleming Road that has a laneway into Fleming, which my understanding is when these were all set up, we didn't want that, so that's why they went to the subdivision and have a street come out on them. If I remember right, it's probably been a month or so when I was there. It's also on a downgrade, which makes it very hazardous to have the laneway in a limited visibility spot. And on the north side of it, I find it would be, it's a dangerous property, huge liability. It's gonna be a nightmare to look after. And I don't see the benefit of us taking this on at all.
Can I address some of those? When you're done.
Yes, you may, Mr. Congus. Yeah. Do you want to step up to the lectern? Would be more comfortable with all the papers?
As far as sightlines go for traffic, we had an engineering firm come in and said there's no issue with sightlines. The dip is very small. Your staff has that letter. Costs $3,000 to have that study done.
So it's at the front.
Coming down at Carl.
Maybe you should go back.
As far as maintaining the property, there's a couple things. On the north side, I know the people on lot 17 and lot 16 maintain the grounds. They also maintain the grass around the municipality's pond, which is a municipality's responsibility. Thirdly, if you've taken a walk around the pond, I've got some pictures. From time to time, and it'll be spaced out a significant space of time. The municipality may have to dredge that pond. There's no access to get around the east side of that pond. The west side is all wooded and it's not, you won't be able to get down there. So if you ever want to have access to maintain your pond, you won't have access if this goes into somebody else's property and they fence it. It's a beautiful walking area. Right now, the people that, enjoy it, they keep that path clear. As far as building lot, that is a building lot. So if you approve it, great. If you don't, it's an LPAT deal. Any other questions?
Counselor Basie?
Just on that, understand people using it, people are looking after it. The moment we start looking after it, we're liable. And if it's,
Well,
I just see it being,
yeah, municipal. If you live there, you wouldn't want it to go into somebody else's hands.
I'd maintain it the way I was maintaining it. That's what I wanted, unless you tell them not to.
Well, I can't do this forever. I have to convey this. My wife says, get rid of it, so it will go with somebody else's
The
property.
honey-do list,
Darn right. So, it's gonna belong to somebody else here shortly, not me. So I think it would be of more benefit to the municipality, but that's my own personal opinion. If you've walked it, people that back onto it enjoy it. No cost to the township. I'll even pay the legal fees to transfer it into your name.
Councillor Bojan.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to clear, staff might be able to answer this one, though, just understanding that it's designated hazard area, conservation's all over it. No matter who it goes to, though, nothing can really be done on this property, correct? Like, so it could be sold to some big developer in Toronto, but it's still gonna sit there because it's not developable, is that correct? Is that fair to assume?
Looking at the previous drawings, Mr. Kungus is developing on the sole piece of land that potentially could develop. There is a bit of flat land and behind a couple of the houses off Rear Street. Given that our storm pond is right there, it wouldn't be developable per se. So the green portion would be hazard land forevermore.
There is a spot behind lots 17, 16, and 13. Where that light green portion is. Which is flat land before you get into the treat area. If somebody wanted that piece of property, they might use it as storage. Outside storage. I don't think anybody'd be happy with that.
Bojan, does that answer your question?
Would it have to be rezoned to be able to do that? I just want to make sure I understand everything correctly. But again, just going back to my original point, this is why I was in favor of separating the two, because I just feel like there's a lot of conversation about this part. When I don't want to make those property owners wait any longer. They can have peace of mind that they're getting their lot line adjustments. That was my original point.
And I get these lot lines dealt with, I think. On this, private land, I have a naturalized trail in our subdivision, the Prairie Park. It also has a natural drainage in there too. And the neighborhood takes care of it as well. A lot of fighting. Maybe I think something. For that part and let the lot.
Yeah. Station on this. There's no comparison between sensitive part of the. It's all really, and it'd be more comparable to the land. And it's going, you know, across the path, and one section is really close to a very deep cliff going down to the creek. I mean, it's nice and nature. Others would like it, but I use my feet, I fall on my face and. Not funny.
Mr. Bansky.
Council wants to push this back to committee to look solely at the lot line adjustments. Mr. Kungus, what is your plan with that? Because you discussed possibly just extending the other lot lines down to the creek and selling it all off to them. What is your alternatives?
I'd like to sever the north side of the creek from the south side. So they're two separate parcels. Because I'll do something differently with the south side than I would the side.
Councillor Bojan.
Sorry, just to clarify that piece then, so. I guess I'll just put this bluntly. Does that mean that you wouldn't adjust those lot lines if we're not taking over that property?
I don't know.
That's what I'm hearing. I just want to.
Friends with all those guys.
But you know, I don't know. I have a boss at home, you know.
Yeah, so I've seen and talked with her.
She's mean. She like you.
I didn't hear that.
She could be watching us.
I wouldn't tell her the number of it.
I'm hearing a lot of agreements with the lot line adjustments. We table here. It's just, we want more time on another.
It's a bargaining chip.
That's why I wanted to clarify, to put it bluntly, if that's what's happening.
I guess my question is, can we have that severance between the north side and the south side?
I don't know if this group can actually rule on that legally.
Back to the committee adjustment.
You're creating a new lot then. It's got nothing to do. You can't
Convey it, I'm gonna convey it to somebody.
Well, that's fine if somebody wants it, but I mean, you can't build on that.
No,
You can't do anything with it.
People that are adjacent to it, the back onto it, somebody there might.
Through the chair, if I may.
Yes.
I would suggest that if Mr. Congress was to propose a different way of severing this, or different uses, it probably at least have to go back to the Conservation Authority, because they may have only been agreeable to the severance based on those lands in the hazard going to the town. They may be less agreeable if it's just orphaned. So,
So I spoke to the Conservation Authority a number of years ago to see who would take this property along the creek. It was too small for them. But now that Longos have purchased the property, McKinley's property, and they have a whole area there that's hazard land, they would consider, and I talked to Lou Longo a number of years ago when I did talk to the Conservation Authority. Conservation Authority, if it's a big enough parcel, would take Longos and this as one piece. So it's something to approach.
I think too, with the Mr. Congress, the Conservation Authority has had some changes there. Yeah, so I would probably think you may have to just recheck with them again.
Yeah, they heard they're getting rid of land.
Yeah, so just to be on the safe side of it. We do that. Council, what am I reading here? Do we want to defer this and then find out what the lot line adjustments go back to committee of adjustment, severance or whatever Mr. Congress would like to do then? Councilor Rodriguez?
Thank you, Your Worship. I believe Mr. Congress is telling us that with that, he won't change his whole outlook. The two go together. Councillor Bojan clarified, it's kind of a bargaining chip. So I think the whole thing needs to be deferred. If that's the case.
Congress needs to decide what he would like to do.
Yeah. You know what I'd like to do? I would convey the properties to the people on Creekside. If I can sever the north side from the south side, which is a creation of another lot. And I will do something constructively with it. I talked to one property owner. It's attached to one of the adjacent properties.
Well, why don't you come back with that plan then?
Say it again at another meeting.
No, but you're gonna have to come to a committee of adjustment meeting with this stuff anyway, so, those three, lot 12, 13, and 14, it looks like they'll fly, and the other one, lot 11, but if you want the blue separated from the green, I don't think that's up, the committee can do that, because you're creating a lot that does nothing.
Council has to. Council, that's why we're here at a
The
council.
nature trail, but it doesn't sound like you're crazy about a nature trail that
I
would.
think
Well, I am.
it feels awesome.
Clear, I'm crazy about it, but everybody is, so we have to have debate.
The neighbors back onto it really enjoy it, and it's been.
Yeah, I know
for-
you do, but if we take it over, it's a maintenance issue and a liability issue.
But you know what? If you don't say a thing, the people that take care of it now will continue taking care of it.
Yeah.
What we're doing.
So-
Council-
Different neighborhood.
Councilor Wolbett?
Very complicated situation here, but this is not the first time we've been into this type of a situation. We get onto this situation on Fleming and behind there, the bush, if you recall, that between King Street and Fleming, whether we would take that over or not take that over, as you recall. And we did not choose to because of all the issues that are being discussed here about the people, what they're gonna do back in there. Motorbikes are gonna do this, and they're gonna do that, and the town didn't want any part of having to control that because it's very difficult to control, so we didn't take on that part. And as far as taking care of these type of, they're beautiful lands, so don't get me wrong, but the people take care of it for a while, but then we ran into a situation out your way there where big pond, and then all of a sudden people, why are we cutting the grass, when the town was paying big property taxes, we got expensive houses. And guess what? Guess who's out cutting the grass and keeping it up?
Well, right now,
It's us, right?
now the municipality is not cutting the grass around the pond like they are supposed to. So
Well,
guess who's doing that? So you're off the hook on something that you're responsible for right now.
That's my point. That's my point.
So how much more grass is there to cut if you take care of what you've got there? How much?
That's the point. We'll end up taking care of it regardless.
You should be taking care of what you got there now.
Yeah, I'm not, I can't argue that, but
Okay,
they're not.
well,
We've never had to take care of the grass. It's always been cut since day one. So,
18 years,
yes.
Yeah, so,
actually more than that, but.
So-
than that.
so when you ask us to take over this type of land, it isn't just as simple as
It's not-
taking it over. It's the
it's not as-
maintenance.
It's not as big a deal as you're thinking it is.
Oh, I personally, I think it is because what I've seen here over the years, what we take on, what we don't take on, the next thing, we're paying to take it and to keep it up and, I don't know.
Take it.
Even the people like to have that land themselves.
Asked one guy,
Yeah.
he likes to start a fight. I just walked away. I said, would you like a piece of this?
Yeah.
And he went off on a
I
tangent.
want no part of it.
Now that his neighbor, Chuck Melton, does a great job of cutting all the grasses and so on. But Chuck's been retired for a number of years. How long is he gonna take care of it?
I don't know, Carl. I just like with creeks and everything else going on, we run into.
So I'd ask you this,
Water now,
so I'd ask you this.
wanting dry ponds, not wet ponds, for safety. It's just, the point I'm trying to make, it is more complicated than just, yeah, we'll take that over.
So I'll ask you this. So I convey that piece to somebody and they decide to fence it in. How are you gonna do maintenance on your pond? Have you walked it?
Yeah, I mean, that's,
You're not gonna get in there. You do need it just to do maintenance on your pond.
well, I think I'm gonna agree with like comrade across the way there, that we probably need a little more time to take a look at this, a little more.
Look at it and see how you're gonna get in.
Yeah, to see how-
Pond.
And see what the consequences are of taking it over the finals. I see it is in the report, maintenance and all that, but. I think tonight is a great education for us and what we're looking at here.
Look at it. I'll get my surveyor to put some survey stakes out, just so you get an idea.
Yeah, but
And you can see how difficult or impossible it's gonna be for you to maintain your pond.
see that, and that's a good point, so.
Hey, Councilor Rodriguez, you have one question?
One quick question, you were mentioning how, and by the way, in Cullen, they do still take care of the parks, doesn't it? How much of this land is the township supposed to be taken care of and how much isn't?
I think, I don't have survey stakes out there. But with a topographical,
Some, but it's not a huge amount.
which
If the local property owners stopped cutting it and we were to maintain it as per our bylaw, which is the current direction of council, it would only take with the trackless an hour, if not to cut.
So it's a small portion of this.
it's a small portion, but if you take a look at the slope, I wouldn't want to be on a tractor cutting it.
Councilor Bojan?
I just have two quick points. Going back to Mr. Zmansky mentioned that he's not sure if the Conservation Authority would have concerns if we focused on just this severances, but it looks like the way I read their report, I don't think they would, because they're two separate thoughts. They say the St. Clair Conservation Authority has no concerns with lot line adjustments, period. The SCRCA has no concerns with the conveyance of land, period. So I feel like those are two thoughts. I feel like if Want to go back and stick with lot line adjustments at community adjustments. I don't think the conservation authority is coming. They've already said that they have no issues with that piece. I don't think it's contingent on another one. So I'm still in favor of doing that if the Congress wants to get those property owners going. And my second piece, that map was a good one. Is there not access or to the pond?
There is from the north side.
North side.
From the former Colburn Street.
Over Street, yes, there's
Just if someone were to fence it in, there's still access for the town to get in.
two yellow lines on the left.
I understand where Mr. Kungus is coming from, but I can find all kinds of sorts of equipment, so.
You need a bulldozer. Build that west side.
I was just, there was an easement. That was my.
There's an easement on the west side. Yeah, that's Colburn Street.
Any other questions? What we have on the table then is the fact that there's the transfer of lands. That's what we're dealing with here. This is what's came before us. Correct?
Yes.
Yes, you'd only be endorsing it, which means we still have to come up with the sales agreement for final approval.
And Mr. Congress would pay all expenses, is that what I heard? All expenses? Legal fees.
Your worship, if council would like to defer the situation, I'd ask council be clear whether they just want to defer it as is and bring this back. And if they want the report to come back with additional information, to be clear what information specifically that council would need.
I think we would, yes, Councilor Rodriguez.
Well, I just have to go back to the point of if we defer it as is, I don't think you were agreeable to that.
What's that?
You weren't agreeable, well, we'd have to defer it as is because you weren't agreeable to separating the two issues. Here, lot line adjustments going ahead.
I wasn't sure. I was trying to tidy up things on both sides. My wife's been on my agenda for a while to tidy this stuff up.
So if you're not agreeable to that, us allowing these lot line adjustments to go ahead and defer the remaining property to the.
I didn't say I wasn't, but I said I'd have to think about it. Give me a minute here.
Okay, because that's what we prefer to do.
And then just leave the other two parcels, the north, south side all as one.
Yes, because I don't think we have discretion.
No.
Right now, just for Karen,
Unless you come
I'm
up,
just thinking of those properties because they want to get going. And this is gonna drag on. We have long meetings. So this will be we'll talk about and talk about and talk about it, and I just don't want. Well, lot 12, 13, 14, 11, I'm sure they want
Oh,
to know what's going on. So if it's possible to do that and we can do the lot line adjustment, send it back to committee adjustments and we can keep doing our thing, I think that would be ideal. But
So
I
which
understand
one?
Mr. Congress, your position.
So what you want to do is leave the blue and the green together for now, is that it? Everything else is okay?
We can talk about it more.
with the committee of adjustment. Never mind.
This allows the committee of adjustment to deal with the 12, 13, 14, to get that.
Right, but.
We didn't have an issue.
No, but it was
Yeah.
because the other was thrown in, which was not really their mandate to do that. It should be come back to council.
That's right.
Aaron Peck might want that whole piece.
Didn't hear you.
Aaron Peck,
Oh, yeah, well, they live right there.
Yeah.
Let her have it.
would. Oh, maybe you guys would appreciate it more. Yes.
Okay, council, so what we're gonna do now is decide, are we going to defer this motion as it is and allow the 12, 13, 14 go back to committee of adjustment? And 11, 12, 13, 14?
Yes.
So this would defer this motion, which we have on the floor, for the lands.
To be clear, then what the committee would see would be a revised version of Sarah's report with the eliminating the green to be conveyed to the town. That would all become the blue retained. And then the lot line adjustments in the red would go to the committee of adjustment for endorsement.
Then we continue talking about the other stuff.
Yes.
I have a question. If I talk to one of those property owners that back onto the green, I need to come back and ask for a severance between the blue and the green.
If,
One of those property owners wants it.
to be honest, if council's deferring it, but you have other property owners who'd like to extend their own properties and you went to the committee, that's Mr. Cungus's decision of his lands.
So I'd rather
I
give it
don't
all
think
to
we
the
can hold them to.
The committee adjustment.
Clerk?
Just to clarify, I think what Mr. Columbus was saying, Adam, was if he did want to still split the blue, but the green go to someone else, he has to go to committee for that.
committee or council.
Committee.
It's a new law.
Council is only involved in
Yeah.
taking the lands, like acquisition of the lands. But if those just basically all turned green or blue, whichever one, they're just on hold, the red and yellow take effect. Council talks about the green, you talk about the green to somebody else, whoever's on first, you gotta go to committee to split the blue from the green at that point.
I'm sure there's one of the gals grew up in the neighborhood and has enjoyed that forever. So maybe if you guys don't want, I think it's most beneficial to the municipality to have.
I'm still open to,
That.
still open.
So we have this motion by Councillor Vacy, seconded by Councillor Rodriguez. Yes, Councillor Wolbett?
Can I just get this clear with Carl? Because at first I heard you didn't want to go and start giving permission for those lots to extend those lots.
I didn't say
Now,
that.
now are you saying all 13, 14, 11, you're okay to go ahead with that through the committee of adjustment? And feeling that you might be looking at somebody there taking over the whole,
The municipality doesn't want it.
yeah, we don't want taking the whole, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so I'll have to come back to see council at another time for a severance. The municipality wants it or another property.
One of the lot owners would take it all.
Um,
Minus the blue, that would, you'd want to go for severance still on the blue. That would have to go through the committee of adjustment, Nancy, for a separate new.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, I think I've got her straight now.
Okay, council, we'll move this along. We're gonna vote on a deferral.
Yes.
This motion is moved by Councillor Vacy, seconded by Councillor Rodriguez. For deferred, all those in favor?
Thanks, Carl. Hungus. If you're changing the layout of anything, if you're consulting with planning well in advance, so they'll likely have to author a new report. Or a request.
I'll probably make a application to a severance. The municipality takes ownership of the property. Only once it's wild to own it. And my wife will be happy.
Then you'll be happy.
Happy wife, happy life. That's what one used to say.
So we're gonna go to item number 6, councillors' reports. Councillor Wolbett, anything under councillors' report? Madam Clavern? Me, sir. Deputy Mayor? Councillor Rodriguez? Okay, Councillor Vacy?
Your worship.
Bojan? Me. All right, we'll move along. Item number 7. Correspondence. Clerk, anything new under correspondence?
No items at this time.
Okay, item 8, bylaws. The items under that? Okay, we're gonna go to item 9. We have 9.1 moved by Councillor Bojan, second by Councillor Vacy. That correspondence items A to D relating to the recommended reading and routine approval and information items not otherwise addressed by resolution be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly. Council items A to D, anything in there? To my left.
That's for me, sir.
To my right. Councillor Vacy?
D, your worship, talks about Bill 97 and they're asking, I remember right, for our endorsement of a couple of letters.
So you'd like to pull that out or endorse the letters?
Yeah, we should talk about it, yes. Talks about the warden submitting a letter to the Ontario Environmental Registry. Lambton County cannot support provincial policy statement until complete documents on natural heritage. And then there's another one about the expansion of settlement areas and whatnot in the rural communities that we have no say in it.
Good.
I think they're all very important to us.
Okay, Mr. Melanson, would you like to jump in on this one?
Yes, thank you, your worship. Through you to Councillor Vacy. This report is for county council and was shared with our municipalities simply as information. So the motions that are contained in it are decisions of county council. So county council did decide to approve motion A, but there were some changes. Motion B was deferred pending a request by the county to have the 2 local MPs attend. And there was a third motion added, but I'm afraid I'm blanking on what that motion was.
Okay, so they're not looking for us to endorse to go back. It's already done.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right.
Then I had nothing.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Melanson. So council will vote on that. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, we're gonna go to new business, item 10. Begin on my right. Councilor Bolton,
For me, thank you.
Councilor Vacy.
Yes, with our discussion on the second dwelling while they're building the house, could we look at extending that to maybe a 2-year initial term? Especially for us with the bigger buildings out along the lake and like the Moffett House and whatnot, they're never gonna build it in a year anyway. Save it coming back here, and if it gets done early, they get their money back early. It seems ridiculous. It keeps coming around.
You'd like to have staff put something together and bring it back to
Yeah,
us.
because right now it's a year and 30 days or something, can extend that to 24 months and what 30 days is there for, but it would just make sense to,
Okay.
and that's all I have.
All right, Councilor Rodriguez,
I'll support.
but you have nothing new.
No.
It's new that she's supporting.
Deputy Mayor? Councilor Van Clever?
Sir.
Councilor Wolbett?
No, sir.
All right, council, we're gonna move along. Oh, I have one thing under new business. We have any idea, there was an appeal that was put in on one of the OPAs that affected the surplus farm dwellings. And I know that's been held up because that appeal has been in. I understand, if memory serves me right, was that December? When that was going to happen? We haven't heard anything about it moving ahead any further, have we? Mr. Melanson? I think you're muted there, Ken.
Sorry, I hit space bar again. So you are correct, your worship. The week of December 11th is what is scheduled for the hearing. And that is the last that we've heard of it. So my understanding, at least as of now, is that we have scheduled the hearing and that it will be moving forward to that. I'm not aware at this point of any further conversations that are intended. That's not to say that that may not change.
Okay. Good, thank you. I've been asked by several farmers that were looking to get involved with that, so, all right, thank you, sir. Okay, motion, we're gonna go to number 11 next, council. A motion by Councilor Vacy, seconded by Councilor Rodriguez, that council move to an in-camera meeting of council pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Item A, litigation matters. Section 239(2)E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. And item B, personal matters, section 239(2)B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Council call for the vote. All those in favor? Agreed.